So this is the AC system design calculation. Okay, so I have shared all the documents, which will consist of starting from architectural space planning, then codes and standards, introduction about air conditioning and ventilation, psychometric calculations. Okay, then the HAP thermal load calculation, fresh air ventilation, then AC equipment for server room, generator ventilation calculation, transformer ventilation calculation, battery room ventilation system, kitchen ventilation. Then we will talk about duct heater, humidifier, and the duct sizing. So these all the parts will be covered in this syllabus. Are you clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as a basic mechanical engineer, when you are going to the system design, okay. So basically, we should
Yeah.
start from architectural space planning. Okay, it is not that directly we will go into the technical part. Okay, just to understand that how the architectural space planning will be designed. Okay, so this is based on the building regulation architectural book. Okay, so I request you to go through this particular guideline. Okay, to understand how the each and every architectural space planning is done. Okay, so if you open this particular guideline, you can able to open like from the folder what I have shared, right?
Yeah.
So this one, if you look at here, say for example, this is the building regulations and design guidelines. Okay, as a mechanical engineer or as a MEP engineer, we should understand that how the architectural space planning is done. Okay, so if you go into this particular standard, okay, say for example, uh, if you go to this particular table of contents, you can see that there are plot coverage area, okay, the architectural submittal requirements, then the space technical requirements, how much dimension area required for each and every space allocation, okay, and you have opening requirements like doors, windows, okay, then you have external building elements such as balconies, terrace, okay, and you have a building stories like a multiple floor, like a basement, ground floor, mezzanine, you have a rooftop, okay, so how the building height will be calculated. Then you have a horizontal circulation area like corridors, fire escape route, okay, route access to the building. Okay, then if you talk about here vertical circulation element such as like staircases, electric elevators like lift, okay, then free escape staircases. Okay, then you have a talk about vehicle ramps. Then we will talk about the parking requirement, like you have a basement parking or in the ground floor you have a parking lots. Okay, then you have a building or different type of buildings like residential building or religious type of building, commercial type, educational type, health type, industrial type. Okay, we may work with a different type of build projects, right? Say for example, sometime residential project, sometime commercial project. So there are various type of projects, right? Okay, then you have a sanitary requirement. What is the sanitary? Say for example, where each and
Yes.
every building consists of public sanitary facilities, like how many bathrooms, okay, how many toilets, okay, how many WC, how many urinal showers, how many number of urinal. Say for example, if you go to the airport, you may see 10 numbers. If you go to supermarket, you
Yeah.
may see 6 numbers. So that number of
Yes.
WC based on what? Okay, so that regulation is given in this particular guideline, right? So you have a swimming pool
Yes.
requirement. If you have a project like swimming pools, okay, then you have a disposal requirement. Each and every project consists of garbage chutes, right? Then you have a landscape
Yes.
requirement like the outer area. Then you have utility services, okay, like water supply tanks, septic tanks, public works, rainwater drainage, gas facilities, ventilation and air conditioning, electricity, lighting, and telephone installation. So whenever you're a consultant, okay, if you are going to start the project based on the client requirement, maybe the client you want to start with a commercial project, or he may start with a residential project or educational project. He will approach the architect, okay, to design the project. Okay, so when the architect design the architectural space planning, he will be using this guideline. Okay, each and every space consists of certain requirements. Okay, say for example, if you have a residential type, what is the requirement? You have to design that how many number of residential unit you are going to decide. Maybe 10 number of 2 bedroom or 10 number of 3 bedroom, 10 number of single bedroom, 10 number of studio. Okay, so when you design that one, what is the basic other spaces required? You require a corridor, you require staircases, okay, you require parking lots. Okay, so whenever you have a like to comply with all the requirements, you have the guideline here. Okay, then each and every building consists of water supply tanks because you should supply the water to the facilities, right? Then you require septic tank. If there is any drainage, it should go to the septic tank. You have a plumbing works like there are water supply pipes network, drainage pipe network, rainwater drainage. Okay, whenever you have a rain, that all the rain should be collected and it has to be properly discharged into the sewage network or storm network, right? Then you have a gas facility you require. Then there is a ventilation and air conditioning requirement. Okay, so this is the part we are going to design it. So if you talk about architectural, you have a lot of things to do. Okay, then in that we are going to just design the ventilation and air conditioning portion, right? So you can see that how many
Yes.
things are to it is the how many things are there to learn, right? Okay, so when you
Yeah.
go into the architectural guideline, okay, so you have a lot of informations. Okay, you don't need to read each and every pages. Okay, but just try to understand what is the important point. Okay, try to read the definitions. Okay, so what is the addition, what is accessible route, okay, and what is the arcade area, what is the building, what you say, what is the bathroom, right? Okay, so when you go
Yeah.
down, this is the building. Say for example, I have a residential project I want to design. Okay, so this is the project I want to design. Say for example, each and every space, like assume that this is the 2 bedroom, this is 1 bedroom, this is 1 bedroom, right? Then you have a say for example, this is the toilet, common toilet. Okay, maybe this look like commercial buildings, right? Because commercial building only we have a common toilet. So this is the
Yeah.
this is the many multiple shops, right? Or multiple offices. Then you have a toilet, number of toilet, how you are going to decide. Okay, then you have a pantry. Okay, then you have a say for example WS or some water closet area, right? Okay, so you can, there are a lot of definitions, pictures, you can go through this particular guideline to understand what is the architectural requirements for the building. Okay, we are not going into the AC and ventilation part directly. Before that, we are just to refresh our architectural guidelines. Okay, remember
Yeah.
whenever you discuss with the architectural people, they talk about concept design submissions, right? Architectural drawings,
Yeah.
layout plan, setting out plan. Setting out plan is nothing but the external part, okay, which consists of there is an entire building which consists of plot area. Then where is the water inlet connection from the authority? Where is the sewage network discharge? Where is the storm network discharge? Where will be the fire water tank? Okay, where will be the substation, incoming substations? Right? These all the things will be discussed in the setting out plan. Right? So when you go further down, you have a lot of things to read. You can have a look each and every items, the heading, right? Then you have a site planning requirement. Can you see here? This is the plot limit, right? So in this plot limit,
Yes.
we are going to construct the project, right? Okay. So when you comes out, there is a main road. Okay, there is a plot limit. Okay, as an engineer, we should understand what is the architectural guideline. That's what I'm trying to say, right? We are not going directly
Yes.
into the air conditioning design. Okay, say for example, this is the plot limit. Okay, so this is your building, and you're giving the way to the access to the vehicle, heavy vehicle, and giving the vehicle access to the light vehicle. This is the design. So how many number of parking required? That is based on the guideline. Okay. Okay, so you can see here, this is a plot coverage area where you have a, this is the plot coverage and this is the building. Okay, and you can see that how the, what is the dimension provided here, right? So this is the building height, how they are going to describe the building height, each and every
Yeah.
floor building height. Okay, so if you go to this particular table, you can see that there are minimum net height area for the different type of buildings. If it is a residential, you should provide 2.7 height. Okay, up to
Yes.
4.2 meter height. Then there are different type of buildings, commercial building, educational type, mosque, 3.6 meter height, you have to provide, right? Okay, when you go further down, based on the different type of buildings, okay, see the dimension, based on the table above, we have each and every height restricted, right? Or the minimum height should be provided. So based on the minimum height, you can able to see what is the total height of the project, right? Total height of the building, you can derive it, right?
Yes.
So this is the ground floor,
Yeah.
what is the minimum height for residential? Then for mezzanine, what is the minimum height? First floor, what is the minimum height? So based on that, you can able to design the project height, total height. Okay.
Yes.
Then you can see that based on the plot limit, if you have two buildings, so what is the minimum distance you have to given? What is the minimum distance you have to provide, right? Okay. Then you have a fencing plot. If it's an external area, how to provide the fencing? Okay. And you have a space technical requirement. See, for example, if you have a space, each and every space, what is the minimum area to be provided? This is the minimum requirement to comply the human comfortable, right? If you have an office less than 10 square meter, then the human will be very congested, right? So you should provide a minimum 10 square meter per for the office area. If you have a single person, okay. Say for example, this is the office area, right? Say for example, you have a meeting room. So what is the dimension is provided? This dimension is 3 meter at least. The length will be depends upon the number of chairs, and also depends upon the door dimension, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is your space allowance in buildings. Okay, say for example, this is the occupancy area. How many area per person is required? Each and every area, office area. If you have 100 people, you will go with the 93 square meter minimum, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you are going with a single WC, what is the dimensions? Okay, if you are going with the multiple with a shower, what is the dimension? With a shower here, what is the dimension? This is with bathtub. Okay, this is with the kitchen or pantry with a sink. Okay,
Yes.
and what is the dimension to be provided for the windows? So this type of understanding is required before you proceed with the technical calculations. Okay, this is the window. So this is your what is the dimension to be provided for each and every, and what is the door dimensions. So whenever you are working in the project, okay, you have an architectural drawing, that is a base guideline. Okay, whenever you are working with any technical projects, so this is the architecture. Where is the door is provided? What is the dimension of the door? How many door number of door is provided? Whether the provided door, the dimension is correct or not? Okay, it is complying the egress path, because it is the also the fire requirement, right? So when there is a
Yes.
fire escape, you should escape. So what is the door and escape routes? See, door and escape routes. Okay, so whenever you escape, you have to provide the doors through the escape routes. And if you have a, this is the way they design the projects, right? You can see the projects here. What is the height of the building, and what are all the external area, which is car parking. Okay, the utility like utility provided utility areas, and also the tree requirements. Okay, okay, then so you can say that different spaces like living room, kitchens. Okay, then you can see that there is a closed pantry. What is the dimension to be provided for the shaft minimum? Okay, then you have external building. What is the ground level? This is external area. So what is the height you have to provide for the setback area? Okay, so this is the road level, and this is the setback area. Okay, so these are the architectural team will be taken care, but as a mechanical engineer, we should have a basic understanding, right? So this is the terrace area, and this is the step-by-step balconies. What is the dimension to be provided? If you have a barcolas, what is the dimension? Pergolas, right? And if you go down, what is the basement? So each and every number of floors, like you have a basement, what is the requirement? Okay, remember when you work with basement projects, they always tell you that you have to maintain 2.4 meter, right? Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
this is
in
the
my current
dimension.
project, they're asking.
Yeah,
In
they
my
are asking
current project,
2.4, right? So this is the 4.2.4 is
yeah.
the minimum requirement for the human
Yeah.
comfort.
And so just one thing I just want to clear. These regulations which you are showing here and which you have shared in that document as well, from where we got it? Like this is the something from Dubai
See,
government or like this?
no. See, actually speaking, I will tell you something. Understanding. Okay. See, whatever the code is developed. Okay, it is based on the international standards. Okay. So why the international standards, how they created the international standards based on the human comfort, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Say for example, if there is a person in India, or if the person in Saudi, or if the person in USA, okay, the human requirement is uniform, right? Say for example, if I go to the bed, if I go to the bedroom, whatever the dimension is required, it is a common for all the people, correct? It is luxurious is different.
Yes.
Okay, we are not talking about
Yes.
luxurious. We are talking about the
Yeah,
minimum
yeah.
requirement, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can have a very big bedroom if you have a space, that is not a problem. But you should not have a smaller
Yes.
than what is required, right?
Yeah, minimum
So,
requirement,
so
yes.
that is what we are discussing. Okay, so this code is international code. So whenever you are working in, say for example, you are working in KSA, there is a Saudi building code. Okay, if you are working in UAE, there is a Dubai building code. And if you are working in, say for example, India, you have a national building code. So, but there is a different name, but all are extracted from the international standards. Okay, but maybe some there will be slightly adjusted to suit the local requirement, but almost if you talk about as a standard, it will be common for everywhere, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the ground floor. What is the requirement? Then if you go to the mezzanine floor, what is the requirement here? And rooftop, what is the minimum requirement, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to the circulation area, like you have a corridor, number of doors, okay, route access to the building, route access to the site, right? So what is the residential types? What is the dimensions? Okay, what is the dimension to be provided? Say for example, corridor width 1.8 meter with room on both sides, right? And 1.5 meter with room on one side. Say for example, if you have a room opposite to each other, then you should provide 1.8 meter. If you have a room on one side, say for example, you have a one room here, one room here, one room here, then you can provide 1.5 meter on with a room on one side, right?
Yeah.
If you have a commercial type building, you should provide 3 meters. Okay, so these all the guidelines is provided. So it does not mean that you have to read entire book within the short period, but keep it in your handy. Okay, so whenever it is required, you can able to refer this guideline so that you can able to understand how you are going to design. Because when you work with a consultant, you should understand the basic architectural guideline, right? Okay, so if you are working with a mall or shopping mall or supermarkets, you always know that there is a kiosk area. So you can able to see the what is the minimum dimension to be provided. Okay, so basically if you have an elevator back to back, what is the dimension to be provided? Okay, if you have a fire escape routes, okay, so what is the requirement? Glassed arcades, what is the requirement? Okay, then if you have a staircase, what is the minimum dimension to be maintained? Okay, and if you have a steps, what is the dimension to be maintained? Okay, so if you have a curved staircase, what is the requirement? Okay, if it is a ladder, what is the requirement, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the fire escape staircases. So you can see there are multiple fire escape staircases. What is the requirement? Okay, remember whenever we have a fire escape staircase, we do with the smoke management, which is called a staircase pressurization system. Okay, that we will study when we come with the staircase pressurization system. Okay, so how to design for the staircases. Okay, then access ramp requirements. If you are working in a basement, what is the minimum dimension to be provided for the ramps? Okay, and if you go further down, what is the parking requirement? How many number of parking to be provided for each and every places? Say for example, parking lot dimensions. Okay, what is the parking dimensions? What is the minimum dimension to be provided for each parking lot? Okay, if you have an entry or exit, what is the minimum dimension to be provided? If you have an entry from the curve, how much distance is provided here? It is given the guideline. Okay, so if you have a parallel parking, what is the dimension to be provided, right? So if you work on the basement, if you refer the architectural drawing, they will be complying these requirement. Okay, so this between the spaces you have a 3 meter. So based on that, they will be deciding the number of cars. Okay, say for example, if you have a residential building, okay, you have a 10 apartment or 50 apartment, you require 50 parking, right? So 50 parking, how they have to provide? Based on the space planning, they will allocate 50 parking in the basement, or if the basement is not covered, then they may go with the basement, another basement, or they may provide in the ground floor area, right? Okay, then if it is a garage, what is the dimension to be provided? Okay, then if you have a cycling area, what is the dimension to be provided? Cycle stands. Okay, then we come up to the loading area. Okay, what is the dimension to be provided? And residential types, what is the requirement for the residential building? Villa, what is the requirement? Okay, see for example, this is a villa. Okay, for the nearest building, what is the distance to be provided? What is the height to be provided for the each and every villa? Okay, staff accommodations, religious type. See for example, whenever you have a religious workshop, say for example, you go to the prayer room, right? So in the prayer room, how many lavatory is required? For up to 150 worshippers, you have to provide minimum 3 lavatory, 3 wash basin, and 5 ablution area, and the 8 parking spaces and 2 shops. So this is the requirement when you construct mosque, okay, near to the residential areas. Okay, so this is the minimum requirement. So remember, whenever you see the architectural building, you will find out there is one architect, there is a prayer room, right? Male prayer room, female prayer room. Okay, so this is the requirement from the architectural guideline for the Middle East countries, where in the Middle East countries. Okay,
Yes.
so if you go further down, okay, there is a prayer room, there is a commercial type. What is the requirement? Okay, then you have a what is the requirement for the soft drink area, grocery area, supermarket? What is the requirement? Minimum area requirements. Okay, and if you go further down, if you have a car park in the front side, okay, the launch area. So how the distance to be provided? So these all the information is required when you design the architectural guideline, right? So say for example, this is the car park entry and this is the exit. What is the requirement? This is for the gas station basically. Okay, this is the educational type, kindergartens, nurseries. Then you have health buildings, clinics, hospital. Okay, industrial types, factories and warehouse, pharmacies, right? This is sanitation
Yes.
requirement. So how many bathroom is required? Say for example, whenever you design, you have a 1 WC, 2 bathroom and shower. This is based on what? Based on the bedroom, single bedroom. You should have a minimum. This is the requirement, right? And if you go to this particular public sanitary facilities, so if you go to the educational building for each and every 10 people, you should have one WCs. Okay, minimum one WC, one per class with a size suitable on children. One WC, one wash basin, one urinal, at least a minimum for 10 people. Okay, if you go to the area called commercial buildings, you can see that every 15 people you should provide one WC and one wash basin. So the quantity increases, the appliance quantity also will increase. Clear?
Yes.
So this is the basic information you should understand before we go into the technical parts. Okay, this is the swimming pool requirement. Okay, this is very rare, but there is a disposal. Whenever you see the architectural project, you have a garbage room, right? So we do the garbage ventilation. Okay, so what is the garbage requirement? What is the dimension? See the garbage dimension, rooms dimension here. Okay, garbage chutes. Okay, then there is a landscape requirement like a trees, cycle path. Okay, then the car path, footpath. What is the minimum requirement for the tree? What is the dimension between the two trees? Okay, then if you go further, utility services, each and every building should have a water supply tank. So what is the requirement? Public work tanks. This water supply tank, who will provide the dimension? By the mechanical engineer, right? Septic tank, who will give the dimension? Mechanical engineer. Plumbing works, the mechanical engineer will provide the information to the architect to design the utility system. Rainwater drainage, as a mechanical engineer, we should provide. Gas facilities, mechanical engineer, we should provide. Ventilation and air conditioning, as a mechanical engineer, we should provide to the architect. Electricity, lighting and telephone, the electrical engineer will provide the information to the architect to size the electrical rooms, telephone rooms, right?
Yes.
So this is the insulation requirement to avoid any heat coming from the outside to inside. What is the power of authority? Okay, so the responsibilities and disputes. So these are the basic architectural guidelines. I request you to go through this document to understand before we move to the technical parts. Are you clear?
Okay, sir. No issue. I understand.
Yeah. So this is the information just to go through for this particular week. Try to understand to gain your knowledge. Then once you complete with this one, then I will tell you that what is the next step. Okay, to design like before we go to the next step is the air conditioning and ventilation design. Okay, so when you design the air conditioning and ventilation, you should understand basic codes and regulations. Remember, there is a ASHRAE, right? So okay, so before we go through the technical parts, we will also study the psychometric calculations. I hope remember today I have shared one video about the psychometric chart, right?
Yeah, you have shared.
Okay, so when you have a time, go through that, but it's not mandatory now at this stage. Okay, so just go through this particular architectural guideline, then you can move to the next stage one by one. Then you will study about ASHRAE guideline. You will study about sensible heat. What is the latent heat? Okay, so these are the things you when you study all the information, then I will tell you to go with the next stage. Clear?